Hi, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone who is joining from different parts of the world today. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank you for showing interest and participating in the session today. I hope there's takeaway for every one of you today, especially when we talk about AI and accessibility testing, which is integrated into our platform. So, but before that, I would like to introduce myself and my colleague here. I am Aditi, and I'm a product manager at BrowserStack, and I'm working on low-code automation product for over a year now. I would request Rajesh to introduce himself.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Rajesh, working as a product manager for local automation. I've been associated with BrowserStack for more than 6 years and come from a QA practitioner background myself. And I think, yeah, this session will be a good session for you folks to take aways around how AI is integrated in low-code and how have we integrated accessibility to ensure can seamlessly test your accessibility tests as well in low-code. So,
Great. Thank you, Rajesh. But before we begin, I want to cover some housekeeping items. Today's session will run for like 6, and all participants are muted so that speakers can go on without interruptions. But we have a Q&A section in Zoom where you can post all your queries as you go along. We also have a 15-minute window at the end where we can answer all your questions if we don't answer it by then. And lastly, this session is being recorded and the recording will be made available to all the attendees. The agenda for today's session is to start with an overview of low-code testing and introduce BrowserStack's low-code automation product. Then we'll go through the product demo where we'll also cover some best practices which we have integrated into our product. The next segment would be where we talk about AI and accessibility testing, which is integrated within the product. And we'll wrap up with our product roadmap and the Q&A session at the end. So I'll begin. Let's start by acknowledging a reality we have all seen. Traditional test automation relies heavily on code-based tools like Selenium. While powerful, these tools require skilled developers or QA engineers, which isn't always feasible at scale. This leads to 3 major challenges. First, automation becomes hard to scale or maintain. Second, you see delayed ROI. You're investing early, but the returns come much later. And third, finding skilled automation engineers is becoming harder and costlier. And all of this creates friction in delivering faster and more reliable software. This is where low-code testing helps. Low-code testing can help you adopt test automation faster and with faster velocity and less efforts. So do any of these challenges sound familiar to you? When I say you're doing a lot of manual regression, smoke and sanity testing, which slows down releases. There are non-tech experts like product managers or business analysts who want to help with testing, but they don't code. Third, test coverage is low and it's taking too long to build automation. And lastly, your tests are flaky and you're spending more time fixing them than building or writing new ones. So if even one of these feels familiar, then our low-code automation product is definitely worth exploring. You can just download our desktop application and create and run your tests in 2 minutes. It's not a product, but it's a platform in itself wherein you can do functional testing, record your tests, and do all kind of functional validations. You can also use visual validation to perform multiple UI testing use cases. You don't need to worry about any test execution infra. It is available for you out of the box. You can utilize our cross-browser testing capabilities and our test accessibility capabilities, which we'll talk later in the session. And we're also building visual testing into the product now. So it's a overall platform in itself. So yeah, I'll just pull up the demo of the product, the live demo. So which helps you, go through our product easily or understand our product easily. Let me just share my entire screen for the same. Yeah. So this is our low-code automation product. This is the desktop application. You require that desktop application to record and replay the test locally. But all the rest of the actions you can also perform on the web version of the same application. To get started, you can create tests via two options. One is by recording, or second is by automating your test with AI, which we'll cover later. But right now, to even get started with recording, all you need to do is just give the URL and click on start recording. Before I do that, I want to let you know that we also have the option to record test on desktop, mobile, or tablet. And you can select the resolution you want to record your tests in. So I'm just going to go ahead and record a workflow on Calendly. I'll try to create an event using this. So as you can see, as I clicked on start recording, it has launched a recorder panel where all the steps will be captured, and also launched a fresh, clean browser session for us. And it has also recorded the first step already, which is opening the URL. I will minimize this and go about my workflow and try to create a event on Calendly. So I'll just enter my email here. You can see my password. Just okay. And now I have performed a couple of steps. I will show this to you that whatever steps I've recorded so far are like recorded in this panel automatically in simple plain English, which can be easily understood by anyone. Now I want to make sure that I have landed on the right page. Have I actually logged in or not? For that, what I can do is I can perform a text validation. And I will validate the URL here, which actually contains my username. So I'll perform a text validation. I'll just minimize this and go about creating an event. So if I create an event, I want to create a 1:1 event. I'll name this event with Aditi, let's say, which might be my customer or someone. And as soon as I create my event, there are some buttons here or at the top, which I want to validate. Like, are they looking correctly? Is their color correct? So in a sense, I want to do some kind of visual validation on it. So that capability is available to you. You can just select, and I have visual validation, and I will select this element on which I want to perform the visual validation. What it'll do is it'll take a screenshot right now while I'm recording, and during replay also it'll take a screenshot, and it'll compare both of these screenshots. This uses the Percy engine in backend. So yeah, this is what visual validation will do for us. I'll just save changes here. Now, once let me just name this. I'll just select I'll just select some date here. Okay, this is saved. I'll just close this. And as you can see, a new event has been created here for me. Now, what matters to me is whether or not an event is created. It does not matter what is the name of that event. So I will just I can add a element presence validation here, which confirms that a card was added here. Or let's say I want to make sure that this share button is present or the copy link button is present. It does not matter to me what is the does it say copy or does it say copy link? I just want to validate that there's a copy button here. So I can add a element presence validation here. So as you can see, so far I have recorded some clicks and some validation actions. So I can go ahead. I will now go ahead and save this test. I will just name it create event. Okay. And at this point, you can add some test tags, folders, and do save and run. Now, save and run is something we do or we enforce within the product as a best practice so that we make sure we save the tests which are actually correct. So later on, you can go and add this into your smoke suite regression suites, and it will pass. It is expected to pass because we have once validated that this test executes without no problems. So yeah, now we are doing a replay of this test, and as you can see, we are going through the steps one by one, and we're taking green wherever the step has passed. As you can see, I'm not interacting with the product, and it's doing this one also. So I'll just cancel this here as we have covered it. I'll exit this flow. And this is, I have now created my test or our first test on low-code automation. What I want to cover next is some best practices within the product. Let's say, so far I have used like a login workflow. As you saw, I've used my username and password to login. But I'm concerned that password is something which is my sensitive data, and it's something you might not be comfortable saving on local. So we provide secrets as a functionality where you can convert all sensitive data to into a secret, and this will be stored completely in an encrypted manner on our end. So we are calling this calendar password. So yeah, now this is converted to a secret. What I want to do next is, next time I go and I create my second test, let's say modify event, I would be using the same login steps, right? I don't want to record the same login steps there, but because I've done it already here once. So what I can do is I can create a module from 4 steps here. Let's say till password and enter also. So I can select the steps that I know I'm going to reuse across tests or I'm going to repeat across tests, and I can create a module. Let's say I name this Calendly login. Now, once I've created this module, I can easily import this in any other test. I don't need to record it anymore or do repetitive work. So this is about modules. I want to come to another third part, which is, let's say, I want to create multiple events, but they will be created with different folks or with different data. So I want to, let's say, some of the values are sourced from a data set. So I have an Excel sheet which I want to upload, and I want to execute this test for multiple rows of that data set from that data set. So what I can do is I can import a value from data set here. I have, so this is essentially doing data-driven testing so that you record the test once and execute it n number of times as depending on the number of rows you have within your test data set. So I already have added a dummy data set here. I will use the first name from this data set. So I've mapped the data set and the column that I want to use, and I will just save this now. Now that I've saved this test, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and run it for you. Like we can see data-driven testing live with this. But before that, so far we've talked about tests. And whatever we have executed locally. Now let's talk about build test suites and builds for a couple of minutes. So I can create a test suite, which is a collection of tests that I want to execute. This is my smoke suite or regression suite. I can name it. I can add the test that I want to include here. I can execute it on multiple browsers. So we let you execute on Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and Safari. Now I will just select Firefox and I'll proceed. You can also schedule this test suite to run at specific times or days according to your timelines. And there are some more configurations available for you, which we'll talk about later. So I'll just save this suite and now you can run this test suite. To save time, I've just already started executing a test suite for us, just to show you how data-driven testing actually looks like in pictures. I don't know why this failed, but so I had created this create event already, similar to what I just showed you. And in that, I was using the data set that we uploaded. So for all the rows of the data set, now the test will be executed again. So we have so many executions. So this is across Chrome and Firefox. So this is how we leverage cross-browser testing capabilities and data-driven testing capabilities within low-code automation. So there are so many features that I would want to talk to you about, but time only permits me to do so much. Now I'll hand it over to Rajesh to walk you through the exciting part of this session.
I'll share my screen. You just saw how seamless it was to record your workflows using the recorder. There are a lot of things that you can automate. You can automate your email workflows. You can automate. You can make API calls. You can perform complex validation just by adding one visual validation on your elements, and you can create loops. You can write conditional steps as well, right, from the recorder. So recorder is added so many features in the recorder to make it more powerful and coverage wide varieties of automation workflows. But where do things start getting trickier is when the applications tend to become very dynamic and there are a lot of dynamic workflows that would want to automate. Things like you want to select a date in future every time the test runs, right? For example, you are booking an appointment and you want to book an appointment for next week. Now, if you run the test 2 weeks later, you might end up the test might end up selecting a week before that, because while recording you just simply selected 15th of August, right? Now that's where things would get trickier. You might have to end up writing some custom JavaScript or handle it using some custom locators, right? And other examples are like you want to validate something complicated, like you want to validate that the search results have a product with a specific specifications, like the search results contain all the search results are shown within the price range of $50 to $100, something like that. And it becomes trickier to automate using script-based and even traditional record and playback recorder. That's where the whole AI-powered authoring agent comes into play. Now, these kind of workflows are easier to describe, but when you try to automate it, it becomes trickier. So that's where AI-powered authoring agent makes it more easier. You can simply describe it just like how you would describe to any person, and then AI takes care of automating the workflow directly, right? I'll just show you a quick demonstration on how you can do that. So this is my application where I will want to, or I'll try to automate a flow on Kayak website where I'll select a date for booking a flight, and the dates that I'll be selecting will be the dates in future, right? And every time the test executes, I have to ensure that the dates that are being picked up for booking a flight is always from the future. And then I'll do a validation on the flight results that show up. Now the flight results will keep on changing every other day, right? Now today I might be seeing some flights, but when I run the test 1 week later, I might be seeing some other results, right? That's why the whole dynamic nature of the application will make your tests unreliable. Now here's where AI interactions would help you do that. So let's say I'm booking a flight from Bombay to Delhi, right? Now here where I want to enter a date in future, you'd see currently it's 31st July and that all the dates in the past have been disabled, right? But what I want to achieve is I want to select a date in the month of August, right? Basically a date in next month. So if I'm running the test in August, I would want to select the date in September and likewise, right? So you see an option in the recorder panel called as AI interactions. When you click on it, you'll see two options. One is action and one is validation. So if your objective is to achieve a action, like perform an action on the browser, you have to enter the prompt in the action tab. And if your objective is to perform validation, you can add the objective in the validation tab. So here I want to enter a date, so which is an action that I want to try. Right? So I'll give a prompt saying enter departure and return date as any available date in the next month. Now, as soon as you hit perform, AI will try to visualize your page, understand what you are trying to achieve from the objective. So it will also give you the thoughts that is trying to, when it is trying to perform the action. So you see, we wanted to select dates in the next month, which is August. So if I'm executing the test in the next month, it will be September 2025, right? And it will select August, any dates in the August month, available dates in the August month. Now you can even perform any kind of dynamic validations in it. If you view the thoughts, you'll see what was AI thinking while it was trying to generate the step. And based on the thoughts, if you see that the outcome of the step is inaccurate or something, you can even review the thoughts and then modify the prompt according to provide an accurate output. So I'll go ahead and let's say search for the flights. And here I would want to perform a validation where what I'll try to do is I'll try to sort the flight results in the cheapest order. And after I sort it, I'll validate whether the flight results that are showing up after sorting are in the correct order or not, right? So in order to do that, I'll just click on the cheapest option here. Just give me a second. Zoom controls, yeah. Yeah. So now I want to do a validation. So basically I'll say validate that the flight results shown are sorted in ascending order of their price, right? So now if you were to achieve this objective using a script base or just by the recorder, it will become slightly trickier because you might have to end up writing a script or use some kind of locators to ensure these kind of validations are possible. But with AI, it's just simply describe the objective and it will execute the step for you. So you see, it examines the flight prices across the pages, and starting from 9348, all the flight results are sorted in the ascending order of the price. Right? So you see all the prices are sorted in ascending order. So that's how easy it is to record your dynamic flows using the AI interactions feature. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind, right? There are some best practices when you use AI features across any product, not just local automation. If you are using AI, there are a few best practices to keep in mind. Now, with the authoring agent, describe the goal that you want to achieve instead of describing the clicks that you want to perform. So example, click on calendar icon, click on next month's arrow icon, and then select date as 15th. Instead of specifying granular level actions or granular level validations, you can just simply describe the goal, saying enter date in next month after 15th or so and so forth. Okay? Try not to be vague. Don't specify prompts which is difficult for any third person to understand. For example, if you just specify validate element text, but which exact element are you talking about is something very vague, right? Things like click on a button. There could be various buttons on the screen. Which button are you exactly referring to? So try not to be vague. Give that context or information to AI so that it can accurately provide the step or generate the step for you. Use on-screen text or visual cues. What I mean by this is instead of relying on what's behind the scenes on the browser. For example, instead of saying click on submit button with href equals to so and so, or click on sign in button with data test ID is equals to sign in, something like that. So don't depend on the things that are not visible to you, but use the on-screen text or visual cue. So instead, just type the prompt as click on the sign in button on the top right of the page if there are multiple sign in buttons, etc., right? So describe the prompt how you'd see the website or the elements on the page, and not by what's present behind the scenes, like the attributes of the elements or any kind of HTML tags of the elements, right? So don't rely on those. We rely on the visual cues of the page, and base your prompts on what you can see and interact with, instead of trying to achieve something like specifying whether my on click of submit button, there must be an API call, analyze the API call, and then understand whether the response contains so and so keyword or not. Those kind of things AI interactions can't perform today, but you can record steps that you visually see on your screen, right? Your recorder will always be your go-to for any kind of simple static browser action that you want to perform. You want to, go to a URL, log into the website, uh, automate some workflows which are simple and static. You can use the recorder. Recorder has built-in powerful features to automate a wide variety of use cases. But for the dynamic use case that I just mentioned in the previous slides, right? Selecting dynamic date inputs, where validating results are sorted in ascending order, or selecting a product with 5-star rating. So all these kind of dynamic flows which deals with dynamic application, you can use the AI authoring agent to automate this. Right? So it becomes very easier. And just by describing it in plain English, you can simply automate these workflows. So we'll move on to the next slide, where we'll talk about how accessibility has been integrated in low-code. We all know how important it is to test your website for accessibility compliance. And it also becomes challenging at the same time to test various workflows repeatedly again for accessibility. You have already tested for functional validations, but now you also want to test it for accessibility checks. That's where you spend duplicated efforts again to go over the entire flows again, and then check for accessibility issues. And to automate those, again, you need script-based mechanisms where you might have existing scripts in place. You have to integrate accessibility checks in those, and then run those tests against accessibility checks, right? But with low code, it's even easier for you. Now, instead of testing accessibility separately again, you can just enable it on your already automated tests, right? So I'll just show you a quick demo. Let's say I have recorded a bunch of workflows here, right? Now I would also want to test for accessibility of these workflows. So instead of performing or recording these flows again to test specifically for accessibility, I can simply use this existing test, create a suite out of it, right? I'll create a suite saying my smoke suite for accessibility. And I can just select the test that I want to run, check for accessibility or the workflows, right? Let's say I select some tests, I select some browsers, and here you'll see a toggle for accessibility testing, where once you enable it, you can run for any scan version that's available here, right? WCAG 2, 2.1, 2.2, single A, double A, triple A, right? You can also enable the best practices issues and needs review issues accordingly, right? And once you enable this, you save the test suite, and you can simply run this. So as soon as you run this, your test within the suite will also run. Parallelly, it will also check for accessibility of those workflows. So I already have a test suite that I had triggered earlier to check for accessibility. So I'll show you in the browser once. So this is the test suite that I triggered for accessibility, and you can have any tests in your suite, as many as you want, right? So you'll see a summary of the accessibility report for the workflows that got ran in this test suite. And when you click on this report, it will take you to the accessibility page, where you'll see you'll see a detailed report on where exactly the issues are, right? What are those issues? Color contrast issues, interactive elements issues, etc., etc. You can select the elements and view more details on those, right? So you see the elements must meet minimum color contrast. There are color contrast issues on some elements on the page. Right? So this is how seamless the accessibility testing is now. You can just record your flows in low code. You don't have to specifically do any additional or put any additional effort to automate accessibility tests. You can simply create a test suite and enable the accessibility toggle on the test suite. So parallelly, your functional tests are also running and your accessibility testing is also happening on the same side. So we'll quickly move to the roadmap now. So in the roadmap, the three broad themes. One is the AI agents. We have seen questions now in the Q&A window where people are asking whether it's available for mobile apps or not. The current low-code automation that you just saw is available for desktop and mobile browsers. We are also adding support for mobile apps. It's currently under development, and we will have an alpha launch soon by next 2 months, September. So we are having a alpha launch for mobile apps, local automation for mobile apps. So that answers all the questions in the Q&A window for mobile app support. And third is the end-to-end test platform. So we are, so look, as Aditi mentioned earlier, it's low-code automation. It's not just a product, it's a whole platform where you'd be able to seamlessly do accessibility testing. You can do visual testing, right? Using local automation, and we'll build integrations with test management products and analytics products to give you deeper insights on your automated tests. Now to go into each of these segments. So in the authoring agent, the AI interactions feature that you just saw is already rolled out and it's in alpha. And you just saw that there are two options. One is action and one is validation. What we are working on this quarter roadmap is we naturally like merged those two things, and you'd be able to provide any kind of prompt, be it action or validation, in a single objective itself, and it should be able to achieve that objective. Right? And the other important aspect in the AI interactions support is allowing import of variables. Today, you can't use variables in the AI prompts, but we are also adding support for that in this quarter itself. Moving on to the authoring aspect for all the non-AI features, we already have support in the recorder to make API calls, where we support validating and extracting from a JSON response. But in this quarter, we're also working on supporting for XML responses. In terms of validations, there are a lot that you can do with existing validations on in the low code, visual element, text element presence, API validations, right? You can also validate the file's metadata. So as and when in your workflow, if you're downloading a file, we'll automatically record a file download validation step, which validates the metadata of the files, like file name, file size, file format, etc., which is already live. But what we're also working now is to provide a file content validation as part of this quarter roadmap, right? Where you can, if you're downloading a PDF or a CSV file, you can open that PDF and CSV file and validate the contents of that file. Right? We're also adding support for database calls, just like how you can make an API call from the recorder. You can also make a database call and query your databases and fetch the data and extract from the database, store something into a variable, or validate from the database response as well. So that's on the whole authoring aspect. In terms of execution, we have rolled out rerunning failed tests. Basically, within a build, if some tests have failed, and because of, let's say, some third-party issues or environment issues, and you'd want to simply rerun the failed test again after fixing those issues, you can do that as well. Right? And in terms of current quarter, we're working on adding block-wise test execution, where within a suite, you can define blocks within your suite, where you can say that, okay, from this 50 tests in a suite, I want to run these 10 tests first, and then the next 10 tests later. Now, based on block 1 result, I want to trigger block 2, block 3, etc. Those kind of configurations you can do in your test suites. And in terms of governance, we are adding support for geo-region restrictions for Europe and role-based access control. Moving to maintenance, self-healing agent via AI is already in production for all users. You might be already seeing some badge. If AI is able to heal your tests during execution, you'd see a badge which notifies that this test was healed by AI. And other thing that we have recently shipped is ability to configure reliable and unreliable attributes. And this is a very important part of test maintenance. So local automation today already has an element selection algorithm, which is rule-based algorithm and takes a lot of things into considerations. Now, one thing about that algorithm is one algorithm can't fit for all the applications, right? For some applications, some attributes could be meaningful, but the same attributes for other applications are unreliable. That's where things get trickier. So what we have done is we have added controls at an application level where you can define if some attributes you feel are reliable for your application, you can configure those. And if you feel some are unreliable, you can configure those as well. So if to just quickly show you a demo, you can go to the project settings. Now in the project settings, you'll see element attributes tab. You can define, say, for example, BrowserStack.com URL. Let's say class is something that is unreliable for my application URL. So I don't want to rely on class attribute much when I want to find elements during execution. So these kind of configurations you can even do to control the algorithm in the backend. Exporting tests as code, we already supported exporting in Selenium IDE format, but we also added support for Nightwatch framework as well. Support for testing types, accessibility testing, as you just saw in the demonstration. But in the parallel node, we're also adding support for visual testing, where you can seamlessly run visual tests on an already recorded flows in local automation. Now in terms of reporting analytics, we already have a product in BrowserStack called as Test Reporting Analytics. What we are building internally is integrating that product with LCA, where for all your local automation builds, you can also see advanced analytics insights and all the pass-fail trends and build histories and test run histories, etc. Along with public build URL, where you can generate a public build URL and share it with anyone who, even someone who is not part of BrowserStack. Right? They can view the build, analyze it, and then create and report out of it. In terms of integrations, Azure DevOps and GitHub is already rolled out for bug reporting. And in terms of test management, Local already supports test management integrations with all these tools. But the integration is more to do with you can map your existing test cases from those tools. And in order to publish the test runs, you have to run a CLI command. So there's some kind of manual intervention required to publish the test runs. But these integrations are more out of the box that we are currently working on, where you can just simply map the test cases from your tools and it will automatically publish the test runs in the respective tools. You don't have to do any manual intervention in between. So this is all the entire roadmap that we have for current quarter and the things that we have shipped so far in this quarter. We'll quickly go over the Q&A one by one, but there's one more news that I wanted to update is along with the support for mobile apps, we are also working on support for enterprise apps like Salesforce, SAP, etc. Right? So this is something, these are the two product lines that are currently under development, and we will soon have an alpha launch for these products in the next 2 months. So yeah, we can take questions one by one now. We'll just move on to the Q&A window. Yeah, so can we automate Windows application? No, as I mentioned, we currently support desktop and mobile web browsers. We are working on support for mobile native apps and enterprise apps. Windows applications is currently not yet planned for local automation. Is it for free? Yes, you can try out the product for free, but there are a few features that won't be available in the free version. And you can create as many tests in your free version as well. But there are a few features like email workflows or performing data-driven testing, right? Those kind of things are not available in the free plan, but you can create basic tests and run those on cloud as part of a free plan. But if you want to do a POC, do reach out to us, and we can enable a POC for you for a few weeks, and you can try out the entire. You can explore all the features of local automation. There's a question around when handling button presses, actions, and similar events. Do you rely on the HTML tag text? What happens if the text changes, for example, from login to sign in? It's a good question. So as I mentioned, we already have a element selection algorithm. Now that algorithm doesn't simply rely on single attribute, like a tag or the inner text of the element, but there are a lot of things that we take into account, like all the attributes of the element, where exactly it is positioned from the root, uh, what is the immediate parent of the element, and what are the parent attributes, all those things. So different informations are being captured for those elements, and then those captured attributes are then used in the algorithm, the rule-based algorithm, that helps find the correct element during execution. Now, if that algorithm fails to find, then it moves to or fallbacks to AI-based, like LLM-based AI healing, where things like, if your text has changed from login to sign in, because the functionality is same, where you are signing into the website, it will be able to provide the right locator and right element during execution. So yeah, that's how it works internally. Answered for mobile apps. There were a lot of questions around mobile apps we have answered. So it's currently in progress. Development is in progress. Do we always need our screens on when automation suite is running? No. When you create a suite and run it on cloud, it runs on our own infra, and you need not have to keep your application open. You can close it or do whatever you want, but everything happens behind the scenes. So you need not keep your application open. Yeah. I think, how can we handle 2FA authentication, which has to go through an authenticator mobile application for validation? Yes, we have seen a lot of use cases around 2FAs. There are two ways to handle 2FA based applications. One, whatever authenticator you are using, or whatever authentication app you are using, there should be public facing APIs for those authenticators, which gives you the authenticator code in the response, which you can make use in the recorder. So in the recorder, you can call those APIs, get the code, and then use that code to log into the website. That is one way to do it. But the best practice is to achieve or to automate those kind of websites is to keep the 2FAs, at least in your staging environments, disabled, or provide a way to bypass those. So we have a feature called as advanced options, wherein you can go to the tests. In the right below the URL, you'll see an advanced options, wherein you can specify headers, cookies, and local storage. Right. So what you can do is you can use a request header key, let's say, the sample key I'm using, right? So let's say I'm using this key and value. What I can do is I can define this same key and value pair and configure this to configure in my application to bypass whenever a request header with such key uh, comes in the request, right? So this is the trick that you should use to automate or bypass your 2FA based applications or workflows.
I'm still seeing a couple of queries on DB connections. So I don't know if Rajesh covered in roadmap, but we are also going to develop a feature in which you can connect to databases from within the low-code automation tool. So it can either be like a step within the test, or you can also source your data set from a database. So like we saw in the demo, the data set was coming from a CSV file. You could also create the data set from DB queries. That is one. Or you could have, you could just query your database as a step within the test. So this is how you can connect to databases. Like we're developing this and it will be soon available to you. The second thing I wanted to cover is I saw a couple of questions around API testing. So we don't uh, do full-fledged API testing with the tool, but you can still add API steps as part of your test. So that is there. And you can also, third thing we have is email testing. So you can validate any workflows which are require interaction with an email. So we provide you with temporary and permanent email addresses and an email inbox wherein you can receive emails and test any sign up or password reset workflows within your application. So that's what we mean when we say this is, all a platform. You have so many different types of testing which you can do within low-code automation itself.
There was some question in the Q&A. Someone asked, headless browser, does it support headless browser? When you run as part of a test suite, it doesn't run on your machine, it runs on our own cloud infra. So, but when you run it locally, it runs on a headed mode itself. So you don't need to worry about running in headless mode in the cloud. Things will be taken care of automatically. How many days test results can be stored? The data retention depends on the plan you are so based on which plan you are in local automation, we have a retention of 1 year to 2 years, depending on whether you're enterprise or not. But yeah, it depends on the plan. Data retention is subject to plans that are part of.
I see that there are a lot of queries on plans and which features are included in which plans. If you've reacted to our poll and said that you're interested in trying out the tool, we'll get back to you and we'll let you know all of these details as well. Is it possible to launch parallel builds? Yes, we do have parallel testing as a feature. So you will get a set number of parallels and you can buy more parallels if that doesn't suffice your needs. So that's there.
I think we are almost around time. For some of the unanswered questions, we'll try to answer this directly over email to you. And yeah, we'll keep you posted on any unanswered queries in this chat. Please make use of this give feedback option. Whenever you do a POC or try out the product in the free version itself, use this option to share feedback to us, me, Aditi, and we have other product managers in the team who actively look into the feedback coming from the customers, and we work on improving the overall user experience. And our main objective is always to, make the product easy to use for everyone. And in case you have any queries around any features, you can go to the respective documentation. The documentation also is also structured in a neat manner where you can write from how to get started, what are the best practices, what are the different things you'd need while creating tests, what are the things available in the AI-powered testing, and how do you manage and run your tests? What are the different things available for reporting and debugging, types of testing, etc., etc. Right? So go with the documentation. If you have any queries, you can also provide feedback from the documentation itself as well. Thank you everyone for your participation. I hope the webinar was informative and valuable. See you next time.